Okay.
Hey, Coach, we'll get started with questions from Kent. Kent, go ahead.
Down 18 midway through the second. What changed?
Well, unfortunately, having experience in that situation recently, in the last couple games, the Chicago game and then the second Dallas game, so we sort of knew how to handle it. And we've talked, as a team, and a little bit, Kent, like for your story, we're trying to find ways to stem the tide, right? And turning the ball over was really hurting us, or missing shots. Again, that same combination of things. We just felt like there was a lot of time left, the way Atlanta plays, that, there would be plenty of possessions left. And if we could just find a way to hang in there, I didn't think that we caught very many breaks in terms of, even some of the calls, that were happening. I'm sure Atlanta feels the same, but, this was a game that I was, obviously really, really pleased that we did hang in there. Being down 18 didn't feel very good. They, had, how many points off our turnovers early in the game, and that stretch just, they were almost, like 10, 12, 14 at that point. And obviously, turnovers are, a problem. This team, that's what they do, but, you had to hang in there. And I thought Sil helped us hang in there. We were very clear. Again, Kent, for your story, what we talked about is to be persistent of what we want to get. And we were very persistent in getting the ball to Sylvia Fowles, to Nafisa Collier when Didi was open from three. Obviously, Didi had a breakthrough, in the second half. Told her keep shooting, and she did that for us.
Actually, they had an 18-0 edge on points off turnovers when they were up by 18, but it was 12-3 your way the rest of the way, the last 25 minutes. I mean, you really started taking care of the ball.
Yeah, we said that. We felt like, if you take care of it, I mean, we thought that percentage-wise, when we saw them in Minnesota, we shot better than 50% when we didn't turn it over. We get good things, and that it's the same way that they get really good things. They're a really hard team to stop in terms of their execution. I think Mike's done a hell of a job putting them in a position to be successful. I mean, take care of it. They desperately want to take care of it. It's not intentional, but they had to work through it. They had to really work through it and try to be better. And we hung in there. I thought that the way that we communicated with each other, that, we just knew we had to hang in there. We can't hang our heads, can't feel sorry for yourself. We got to go on to the next play, see if you can get together, string together a couple stops, which was really hard to do. We didn't get it done very often. That third quarter, thank goodness we could score too. Pretty much almost just traded baskets, gave up a 30-point third quarter. And then, you hope at some point your defense, because it's kind of, it's what we try to hang our hat on. That if you're trading baskets, that eventually, hopefully the Lynx are going to get stops. And Sylvia Fowles was really tough there in the closing minutes.
You talk about saving, hanging in there. McBride had 2 points until the stretch run, and she scored 7 points down the stretch, including the game winner.
Yeah.
Talk about the timing there.
Yeah, big. And she had such a way about her, leadership-wise, her communication, her belief that we were going to win the game. Her, running in transition and getting that layup is huge. You got to sprint the floor to get that. Her ability to get into the, off the bounce, hard drive, pull up. We've been working with her on, 2-foot stop. She did that on a big basket. Yeah, I mean, that's what you hope for. And then, I thought Leja put her body on the line for us. Physically, they were very, very tough, and Lay was very, very committed to the game plan. And yeah, I mean, obviously Damaris, having her breakthrough was big.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jace, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, with Didi, I mean, obviously catch and shoot, she was tremendous tonight. Are you hopeful that, like, okay, maybe 2020 Didi's kind of sneaking back into the picture?
But we kind of talk about as a staff, and even the players, there's, the 2020 season is over with. It has nothing to do with what we're doing now. And I think the hard part is there's been an expectation created that, Didi had a career year for us. It's very hard to duplicate it. Especially like, you don't, she didn't necessarily come to camp kind of, picking up where she left off physically. And, Same thing for Bridget, Fee, who shot much better from 3 last year. I told him, stop talking about last year. This is about this year and focus on making the next shot. I don't care what their percentage is. I know they can shoot, and we just have to work through it. With Dee Dee, we actually videotaped her shooting this morning and kind of, showed her, what she looked like and what we thought that she needed to change. And I'm going to go back and look at the threes and see if she was able to get it done. I didn't care how it got there, but she was making threes and she just had great confidence, and she knew that her team needed her to shoot it. And it was big. Once you see a couple go down, now what does that mean? Well, that was tonight. And if you get the same opportunities in your next game against Vegas, we'll see. But I think I'd like to caution us from doing that because we're still working through so much. But this needed to happen, and it'll happen for Carlton too soon.
Defensively, the third quarter not what you wanted, but the fourth quarter, especially those final few minutes, even when some calls weren't going the team's way, like what did you think about how they kind of kept coming each possession defensively and making things tough?
That resilience that we showed, that toughness, they believed our players, and that's what felt really good is, even 7 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go, we're still down. And, this is a team that's kind of been there. We did it against Connecticut where you had to come back. And, but this was a team that we got to a certain point and they really felt like we were going to win this game. And, defensively, we got, maybe we got a little bit more done. We weren't exactly doing, what we wanted. Their guards are really good. Their guards are really, really potent. And it's very, very hard to keep them from where they're going. When you got shooting bigs, if you want to switch now, you got your big standing there trying to stay in front of people that, nobody can stay in front of. But I thought that, we did a much better job of the big, being up, and that's where we had success in the second game. And Sylvia Fowles, she just, she was obviously really, really good and very, very hard to play against, particularly on that last possession that they had when they got multiple shots.
Anne-Marie, go ahead.
Coach, can we talk a little bit about Leja Clarendon, what they have brought to the game? I mean, 9 assists today. You've talked about it. In terms of leadership, I'm wondering what they brought.
Yeah, Leja, leadership has been documented. I think we talked about that. But the physical toughness is something I really enjoy with Lay. Sometimes it leads to, being aggressive and fouling a little bit. We were a little bit of trouble there with having Lay on the bench. But Lay's they're going to put their body on the line for you. And that's contagious. And that's what I've talked about. I want to be physically tough and I want to be mentally tough. And Leja is both of those.
And then coming back around to McBride, as has been documented, 2 points until that run at the end. Do you say anything to her? Does she say anything to you? Or do you just know that McBride will show up as McBuckets when needed?
Well, you hope, that given an opportunity. I don't necessarily know that there were a ton of open shots. They were trying to stay a little bit closer and they were making their choices. And I understand why the choices were made. But we kind of made them pay, for not guarding Dantas. And again, the shots that BC's taken, I mean, you'd want them every day of the week. But K-Mac, I think same thing. She just got a swag about her that they really felt good that if we could just string together a couple stops and, that we could get to them. And like you said, at the most key times, K-Mac was there for us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have time for 2 more. We'll go Danny and then Leo. Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned the turnovers a bit earlier, but there was a moment in the second quarter that things got really dicey with the turnovers. What do you think really changed in terms of the execution to turn that around? And I was also wondering, is there anything that you said to the team to kind of snap them out of it?
Well, the hard part is, of course we're saying we got to stop turning the ball over. And what we saw was players holding the ball over their head. We were having success throwing it at the sill. And then we went through a stretch where that's all anybody wanted to do, or Fee on the inside. And I thought that, when we would receive it on the perimeter, we just hold the ball over our head. And they were pressuring, their hands are high, you're getting passes knocked away. We're not throwing it high enough, whatever execution wise. And we just talked at halftime about, that Sill's good for the offense, whether we're throwing it to her or not. And you're not going to run in the second half very many plays that you're going to get her on the first option. And here's the places that we're going to find. So I don't want to go into great detail, but here's where, we can do better. And we're better when we play with pace and the ball's moving side to side. When you can drive into the paint, it's good for any team. And, they had their way in our paint. What was like 80 some points scored in the paint on the game between two teams. We got there differently. We don't have the speedy guards that are making plays in there the way that they do. They're hard to play against. This is, this win coming down here is, I'm just really impressed, especially after getting down 18. I'm really impressed. I'm proud of them.
We'll go last question to Leo. Leo, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Reeve. So, you obviously have a long-standing relationship with, Sil going back, when we first acquired her, and, you get to coach with her, in the Olympics. And so today we saw her post, I think, the second player ever to post, 26 points and how many rebounds and 5 blocks today. And so can you talk a little bit about, what Sil's legacy means, to you, or, how you would define her legacy so far?
Well, this game epitomizes Sil. And, she knows, after coming off the Dallas game, I thought that Sil was subpar. She'd been playing so well. And then she had a game in Dallas, that Sil doesn't like to disappoint people. Loves her teammates and loves her coaches. So she's somebody that really responds well when maybe the game didn't go. So you can always count on her in the next game. She's been playing great. The one thing I told her before the game was we needed elite rebounding. And, we weren't quite getting, while she's gotten a couple double-doubles, it's like barely a double-double. You need elite rebounding, especially in this game. We felt like we were going to need that from her, from Fee. But we got it from Sil. And she just embodies everything you'd want. The way, it's frustrating sometimes when the teammates won't throw the ball high enough, right? I think I could hear everybody collectively yelling at their TVs, their devices, on our bench. Throw it high. She's 6'6", and she literally is like Megatron. When you throw the ball to Megatron in the end zone back when he played, he's so big, he's going to make every catch. Sil's Megatron for us. Throw it. She'll go get it. So she has to endure a great deal of frustration of plays not being made. And then you got to get back, and now she's got to sprint back in transition. And at 35, it's getting harder and harder for her to want to sprint back, especially after things not going their way. But Sil today kept us together, kept her emotions in check, kept us pointed in the right direction. The narrative and the timeouts were good. We just hung in there. And Sil embodies everything you want her to be. So her legacy is, who's better? Who's a better center in the history of our league? That's her legacy. She's the best center in the history of our league. All right.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Dee Dee. Great game tonight. We'll get started with questions from Kent. Kent, go ahead.
Thank you.
Edie, how did it feel to see those 3 start to go in the second half?
I feel good. The coach will say, Didi, come back. So I work my 3 every day. I know the first games is not good, but I still work. And coach will say, doesn't matter what happens, continue shot. So today is a good game.
Jace, go ahead.
Yeah, DD, even when they don't fall, are you able to stay confident in your shot?
Yes, I'm staying. I work every day and coach. So doesn't matter what happens, shot to shot.
And what did you think the team did better after those first 20 minutes or so when you guys got down 18?
I think better in defense. The first score is not good. Too much points in the paint. So we start play defense is better. I'm sweaty.
Leo, go ahead.
Hi, Didi. I just want to ask you, how do you feel, after today's game? You had a good game, but just do you feel good? Like, what are you feeling inside right now?
I feel so good. I'm so happy. I think I need play good I'm so good. I'm so happy and continue work for next game.
Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Didi, building off of that, going into next game, how do you kind of use this performance as a launch pad in terms of confidence?
How do you use what you did tonight to build your confidence for the next game?
Continue make my shots. I think my teammates help me and put me in good situation for make my shots. So just continue.
Any last questions for Didi? All right, great game tonight, Didi. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so congrats on a great game. We'll get started with questions from Kent. Kent, go ahead.
So, can you tell me at what point tonight, maybe on the floor in the huddle, you guys actually felt like it was going to happen? That this was going to be, you guys are going to come all the way back?
I think that has to do probably after the second half. I mean, they had a great third quarter, but we always stayed humble the whole way, and we talked. We made sure we was holding each other accountable, but we never lost our cool. And so I think you can kind of feel that momentum going into the fourth quarter.
Jace, go ahead.
Bill, how do your less than stellar performances, I don't know, I guess inspire or motivate you?
How do what? Sorry.
How do your less than stellar performances inspire or motivate you?
I just go out and try to do what I do. I think night to night is kind of different. But one thing me and Cheryl kind of established over the last couple of days is making sure I get enough touches. And so that's why I think you've seen the performance that I had tonight.
Like, how do you maybe avoid getting frustrated? Because like sometimes players maybe want to get you the ball, but they're not great at post entry. So like, how do you avoid, I don't know, letting that frustrate you maybe when they just can't get you the ball?
Easy said and done. I definitely have my moments, but it's having a quick memory, saying what you need to say and let it go. And then once we make it to a timeout or once we huddle up and then you let them know like, look, I think I was open on this possession. Can you give me a longer look type thing?
At the end of the second quarter, could you tell that it was kind of like the team kind of needed you to take over in that little stretch? I think you scored like 10 points in like 3 minutes when you guys were down 18.
We just took what they gave us, and the guards kept coming in to me, so I just wanted to make sure that I did a good job and continue to post, just to give them different options, even if the ball wasn't coming in to me.
Danny, go ahead. Okay, we'll go to Leo. Leo, go ahead.
So first, just on check, how are you doing today? How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling good. I can't really complain. Just happy that we got a good road win against a good team.
Cool. I want to follow up with you. And so we just asked Coach Reaver, I was able to ask her, what your legacy means to her. And obviously, you all have a long history and relationship together. And she called you the best center in the league, in league history. And so, do you agree with that? Or are you more like, I don't know, we'll see, I'm still playing? What are your thoughts on her comments like that?
You have to respect what coach say, of course. And of course, I think highly of myself. I think I don't speak on myself enough because that's just not what I do, but I'd rather for my game speak for itself. As of me talking about my legacy, I still got some work to do, I think, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I don't think no post do what I do.
Kent, go ahead.
18, I guess for the first time in 6 years. So what can that do just for the confidence of a team that's been a little bit up and down so far?
Just knowing when to step in and make things happen on the defensive end. Offense gonna come, and that's something that I've been adjusting to so far this season. But nobody can take away what I do defensively, and so me going out tonight, just being focused, making sure I can do the little things for my teammate. I think that kind of sparked everything, and I like the movement that we're moving into.
Danny, did you have a question?
No, that was it.
Okay. Any last questions, Priscilla?
So can I ask you one more?
Yeah.
So Coach Reeve called you Megatron, like that. They just need to throw the ball up and you'll get it, like, Calvin Johnson back in the day. And so, do you think that's accurate, or you think you're more of an Optimus Prime kind of character?
I think I'm definitely Megatron. You throw me anything that's high enough, I'm gonna make you look good.
Awesome.
Alrighty, thank you, Sil.
Thank you.
Have a good rest
Thanks,
of your
Sil.
night.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Tori.